When people talk about the foundation of punk music, they usually bring up bands like Sex Pistols or The Clash or the Ramones, and rightly so, but one album that deserves just as much credit, if not more, for shaping what punk has become is Machine Gun Etiquette by The Damned. The album came out in 1979. This album didn't just follow the rules of punk, it broke them, it rebuilt them, and added a few more layers of chaos and creativity that are still echoing in punk and post-punk music today. Now first, let's look at the timing. Machine Gun Etiquette dropped in a transitional moment. Punk's first wave of splintering and bands were, either burning out or evolving. The Damned had already made history by releasing the first UK punk single, New Rose, and the first punk full-length album, Damned, Damned, Damned. But by 1979, they'd regrouped with a new lineup and a new vision. Instead of repeating themselves or, playing it safe, they went full throttle into experimentation while keeping punk's raw spirit alive. What makes this album foundational is its fearless fusion of styles. You've got blistering punk energy in tracks like Love Song and Anti-Pope, but there are also hints of psychedelia and garage rock and even early Gothic undertones. Listen to Plan 9, Channel 7, and tell me that didn't help plant the seeds for what bands like Bauhaus and The Cure would later cultivate. The Damned weren't just another loud punk band, they were showing that punk could grow without selling out. Then there's the musicianship. You got Captain Sensibilities. Guitar work on the album is incredibly versatile. He's not just, thrashing. He's layering melodies and solos and textures that give the songs a surprising depth. And, you got Dave's vocals, part snarling punk, part theatrical crooner, really elevate the album. He brings character to every track. It's not just yelling, it's storytelling and, rat scabies on drums, controlled chaos. He's playing like the whole world's falling apart around him and he's still keeping perfect timing. Also, let's talk about attitude. Machine Gun Etiquette is punk in spirit as much as it is in sound. The lyrics take jabs at, religion, society, love, politics, and there's a surreal, almost comic book quality to it all. It's not, self-serious like some of their peers. It's rebellious and fun. That balance of fury and playfulness gave punk room to breathe and evolve. This album also had influences beyond the UK, American hardcore bands, post-punks, and even alternative Gothic artists. They all took notes from this record. Its fingerprints, are all on everything from the Misfits to AFI to the early days of alternative explosion of the 90s. In short, Machine Gun Etiquette is foundational not because it is stuck to the punk blueprints. It's because it redefined what punk could be. It was bold, it was weird, catchy, and loud as hell. And it proved that punk wasn't a dead end, it was a launching pad. So when we talk about the DNA of punk, its sound, its ethos, its refusal to stay in one lane, you've got to give Machine Gun Etiquette its rightful place in the foundation. It wasn't just ahead of its time, it shaped the future. So if you haven't checked this album out, check it out. Let me know what you think.